Hey guys, it's Chloe. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel, where in today's video we have, as you can see, yet another awesome thing to install on my Toyota Tacoma. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you might remember that I installed a MillerCAT CatShield on the Toyota Tacoma, which basically is a complete bolt-on, no cutting or welding needed shield that protects all four, yes, I said four, catalytic converters on the Toyota Tacoma from getting stolen. But today, MillerCAT sent me their new product that's compatible with my third generation Toyota Tacoma, their Heavy Duty CatShield. This is basically a thicker steel shield that they offer. And I'm really excited to install this shield today because it really is heavy duty and it can basically kind of double as a skid plate for my truck's transmission, which is great for me because if you guys know, I love off-roading in this truck. If you're wondering if catalytic converter theft is common, I can say it certainly is in my area, unfortunately. I personally have coworkers, friends from the gym tell me that they've gotten their catalytic converters stolen out from underneath their vehicles. In one of my more recent videos, I was telling you guys how I went to the Toyota dealership because of my truck's steering rack. But anyways, while I was there and waiting outside, I saw one of the service techs get into a Prius, started up, and it made this horrible sound, which is the sound of a stolen catalytic converter. It's unfortunate, but people like to steal these because they are quick and easy to take off of a vehicle, and also they do have value because they contain precious metals. So to prevent that from happening in your own vehicle, I highly recommend this CatShield. In this video, I'm going to be removing my existing CatShield and installing this newer, heavier duty one, but I will be comparing the two shields side by side so that if you're trying to figure out which one is best for you, you can get some insight. And also, from my last CatShield video, I got a lot of really good questions from you guys that I wanted to address. A lot of people are wondering if it really is easy to cut through these CatShields. I also got a lot of questions about if these shields cause overheating or not, so we're going to be talking about all of that in today's video. Just so you guys are aware, they still have the 16 gauge 304 stainless steel and 12 gauge 5052 aluminum shield available for our trucks. The shield in this video is just a heavy duty version of the steel shield with some upgrades I'm about to share. Before I show you guys the install, I wanted to get underneath my truck and show you guys some of the features of the shield and basically like the way it's designed to help prevent converter theft on your Toyota Tacoma. So this is it, the new heavy duty CatShield for the Toyota Tacoma, made out of a thicker gauge steel than the previous one. This super thick stainless steel is not going to be easy for any thief to cut through. This thing is really heavy duty, and again, while its main purpose is to prevent catalytic converter theft on the Toyota Tacoma, I think it totally can double as a skid plate. So the shield doesn't actually completely cover all of your catalytic converters. So here on the passenger side, you can still see one of the converters here, but as I pan to the side, the shape and the way the shield is mounted is in such a way where someone can't cut and remove that catalytic converter. It's actually good that the converters are still visible because when you're getting smog done, I believe they have to read information off of these converters. So if you have any sort of shield that completely covers it, you're gonna have to get that removed before you get smog done. With this shield, you don't have to do that, so a little bit less hassle. Check out this recessed hardware. In my previous video, I had a couple people mention that thieves could cut down and grind these bolts since they weren't recessed, but now look how flush they sit. Like the previous CatShield, you can see that these bolts that are provided in the CatShield kit, they use this specific provided bit, so you can't just go to any local hardware store, get a set of security Torx bits, and try to remove the shield because they will not work. We've got these louver vents, which are designed for heat dissipation, of course, which is very, very important. When air flows underneath your vehicle and around the louvers themselves, it creates this low pressure zone, which then in turn creates a vacuum effect, which extracts all the heat out. That's another thing I like about MillerCAT. They actually do temperature testing, which is very, very important to me. I would say if you're looking at any CatShield on the market, be wary of those that don't do thermal testing like MillerCAT does. The last thing you want to do is install something that you intend to help protect your vehicle when in reality, it damages it. I want to step back for a second and show you guys how to assemble this shield and then install it. But as I mentioned, I have been running the existing CatShield, so we'll have to remove that first before the new shield can be installed. To make things a little bit easier, I'm going to be removing my factory TRD skid plate. One of the big reasons I really like CatShield is its compatibility with this skid plate. And in my previous install video, I left the TRD skid plate on and installed the CatShield. But I will say it is easier to just take off the skid plate and install the shield than put the skid plate back on. And since I have to not only take off my existing shield but install my new one on, I figured I'm gonna just take off my skid plate, so let's get started. So I'm not going to get into the details of how to actually remove the CatShield here because it's the same way you'd install one, which I'll show you later in the video, just with the steps reversed. This is my existing shield and this is my new heavy duty shield. Let's go quickly assemble my new heavy duty shield so we can compare it side by side to the existing CatShield. Assembling this CatShield before it gets installed onto my truck is basically just adding the two wings onto the main shield. I'm flipping the shield logo side up and putting the corresponding wing under it. You can't mess up the side because each wing has a different number of holes. I used the 9 provided short security bolts to secure the wings on for now. I hand tightened 2 bolts just to get the first wing into place, and then added my other wing and did the same thing. I hand tightened down the rest of the bolts and very carefully, and I mean carefully, I used a drill with the provided security bit to secure the wings. You really don't need or want to go hard if you use power tools here because you don't want to strip the heads or pop the PEM nuts on the wings. And now it's ready to go on the truck, but I'll be putting it up against the existing CatShield to show you guys the main differences first. When you look at these two shields side by side, they do look very similar, both the heavy duty stainless steel one and the existing regular stainless steel one. As I've been saying, the main difference with the heavy duty line is really going to be the thickness and the weight, and I'm really excited because I'll weigh both shields, but I'm also going to measure and let you guys know the difference in thickness. But overall, the main design and engineering that went into this original CatShield has carried over to the heavy duty line, which is great because I have loved having this shield on my truck for, I think, almost a year now. I haven't experienced any problems with my truck because of this shield, so I'm really glad this one has the same great design. There is a slight difference in the shape on the main shield towards the bottom. You can see that there is a more squared cutout here, Whereas this bottom piece is cut out more trapezoid. I was about to say trapezoidal, but I don't think that's a word. More like a trapezoid, if you guys can see what I mean. One pretty big difference though is you can see that this new heavy duty line has this recessed hardware. This differed from my existing shield, which did not feature fully recessed hardware for all of the bolts. So let's measure and compare the thickness or gauge of each of these shields. Starting out with the existing one. That is 0.06 inches, which is 16 gauge, I believe. That is 0.101, which I believe is very close to 12 gauge. My measuring is probably a little bit off. Okay, so weight test, I'm gonna get on the scale with both of these shields and subtract their weights. Wow, this one is almost 10 pounds heavier. Again, both of these are made out of stainless steel. This one is just 12 gauge versus 16. Now, comparing the two cat shields side by side, I would say the regular one would be more than enough for most people. It's got all the great security features and it still is very difficult for a thief to cut through. I think the heavy duty one is good for the Tacoma owner that also likes to off-road their truck and is looking for some extra protection. Now, let's actually jump to installing the shield onto my Tacoma, which is pretty simple. I'm using a jack here for ease, but a second pair of hands can also help out a lot. The only step I'm not going to be detailing in this video is how to remove the cross braces, but you can reference the MillerCAT instructions or my previous install video for that if needed. Lift your shield up into place and then add the nut plate above the crossbar. Make sure that the rounded end is facing towards the driver's side and that the PEM nuts are facing upward. Then, using the 3 really long bolts, thread them through the 3 holes at the top of the cat shield and hand tighten them into the nut plate. This is where I find it so much easier to have the skid plate removed because otherwise you don't really have space to put your hand up and hold the nut plate while you're trying to thread the bolts through it. When that's done, reinstall your cross braces using 2 of your existing bolts per side and replacing the other 2 with a provided security bolt. All the bolts are in place, so it's time to tighten everything down. Again, if you're using power tools like me, make sure you go super slow and easy. Now your shield is secured on your truck, and so are your catalytic converters. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video all about the new heavy duty cat shield for the 3rd generation Toyota Tacoma. If you want to connect more with me, you can follow me on my Instagram. It is at ChloeKuo Taco. I post more on there in real time, but other than that, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!